Welcome to the Tiny House Ideas podcast.
I think there's something in this modern era, even before this last year, but of course, especially in this last year, that feels like hiking at high altitude. That even one step forward is hard and seems to take more out of us than it did before. I know there have been times for me, even, literally going to the shops just one time to go pick up, basic necessities just finishes you off. It's just like, wearing the mask and all the uncertainty, just the feeling in the air. And it used to be that you could run 4, 5, 6 errands in a row. It was no big deal. But now it just isn't the same. You're not in the same reality. Yeah. In that reality, at the same time, you've got people now dealing with far more responsibilities sometimes than they had before, because suddenly, of course, at time of conversation, there's a whole full shutdown again in the UK. No schools are in. Well, that means mothers and fathers have to deal with these situations.
Exactly.
Looking after, children, having to provide education, and they're all day long and trying to do Zoom calls. And this environment, I think what's happening is that there's a sort of tipping point, a breaking point happening. Yeah. And you've got to find a new path. You've got to find a new way. And my suggestion is, instead of dropping all the essentials, instead of just going, well, forget about it, I'm not going to do exercise, I'm not going to forget the relationships, let it all break, let's just give up, which I think is sort of the one option. Or the other option, the other false thing, which is, I'm going to just keep burning myself out to try and keep this thing afloat, and I'm just going to kill myself off trying to keep things as they were before. Those are sort of your options. And there is a third alternative. There is this way of the effortless way. Yeah. And I've enjoyed so much spending these years working on this, and it turns out it comes at a time that's painful. So
yeah, no, exactly. And I think that analogy that you said about sort of hiking at high altitude, and every step forward, it just sort of compounds, it snowballs almost, doesn't it? And you sort of get to a point where it is a bit too much.
Well, and I think that the overachievers, which, in some ways is who I'm always writing to, there's a very odd paradox where in times of exhaustion, they can double down on working even harder, putting in even longer hours. They've been rewarded at some point in their life, or even many times in their life, for pushing harder, for forcing it, for pulling the all-nighter, and so that norm, that remembered advantage that served them well in many instances, has got to a certain point where actually it's not the right next application. You should not be doubling down. If you're exhausted, if you're teetering on the edge of exhaustion, you should not be doubling down on trying much harder. And so you get into this overexertion cycle that I think is actually, this is, people do finally burn out, or they burn out their relationships, or they, and so they burn out and don't get the results they want.
Exactly. So it's just a double negative.
A double whammy. And so I am fully convinced now, after this research, that there is a different way, even though it's a less traveled path. It's that there is and even asking the question, well, could this be easy? Is there an way to do this? I remember I was in my office here when I was writing the book, and I was thinking about that question. Could it be easy? Is there an easy solution? I was scanning the room, and there was this printer that we got a new printer, and this old printer sitting on the floor over here. It's been here a couple of weeks, and every time I'd seen that printer, I wanted to remove it. I don't like clutter, and I wanted to pass it. I want to do, well, what do I do with it? Do I need to sell it? Do I need to give it to somebody? Do I need to get new cartridges for it? And it's enough complexity. It's just hard enough. It's not that hard, but it's just hard enough. Oh yeah, I'll come back to that.
Yeah. Brush it under the carpet.
Well, that's right. I wish I could. I was too busy. Literally. And I just said, I just asked that question. Well, is there an easy solution? What if this could be easy? And I look up, and there were some workers outside, and I was like, I wonder if they want it. So I literally walked outside. I said, would you like a printer? I'm getting rid of it. Yes, I would. And I went and got it. And within 2 minutes, literally actually timed 2 minutes between asking that question, the problem was completely solved. It was done. And I just think you just think about this for yourself. how often when you want to get a better result, have you thought that the way to get a better result was working harder?
All the time. Yeah.
Is there an easier path?
Yeah.
I think the ratio, you said all the time, and I actually think it actually approximates this. I think it's pretty close to 100% to the first strategy. Just work harder. And what about the other? Is there an easier path?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Way to do it? Easier way to get A's in university, easier way to get the job that I want, whatever the worthy thing is we're trying to pursue, that high contribution. But what's the easiest way to do it? We should at least have a little energy towards that question.
Yeah, no, exactly. It is all about the mindset shift. It's about because like we said, we've sort of been ingrained and almost, I mean, in a way, even indoctrinated that the busier you are, the more successful you are, the more you'll get done, the busier you are. But then you talk about sort of being busy but not being productive, and there is a real distinction.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely my experience with it.
Thanks for watching this little teaser for the Tiny House Ideas podcast. If you'd like to listen to the full episode, it's available on all major streaming platforms. So that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all of the others. Alternatively, if you'd rather watch it sort of in a video format like this video has been, then that's available on Patreon. Just search for Tiny House Ideas. So thanks again for watching. Please do check out the full episode, and thanks again.